This time, I would like to call to order our Hamilton County Council meeting for this month.
So whatever month that is?
Yeah, well, I lost track here. February 16th.
There you
And Madam Auditor, if you would note the presence of a quorum.
Yes, Brad Beaver,
go. Here.
Fred Glenn,
Present.
Amy Masalani.
Present.
Steve Swartz.
Present.
Ken Alexander,
Present.
Sue Mackey. Here. Steve Nation.
Present.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am.
Those two want to be different.
If you all rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Beaver is going to lead us.
Let's just have a moment of silence and remember our men and women in the armed forces this evening. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If everybody's had a chance to read, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our December 30th meeting.
So moved.
second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Also, the meeting of January 5th.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on your agenda is public comments. Is there anybody here from the public that would like to speak?
I had some information for the council and approach.
Please approach.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, warnings, it's not for the faint of heart, but I feel like it's important for you to see these things. The Hamilton East Public Library.
Before you start, can you tell us your name and where you live?
Yeah, sure. My name's Chad Carmichael. I live in Fishers. The Hamilton East Public Library is organized into different age-related sections. An adult section, a teen zone for kids from 11 to 17, and a kids section for kids 10 and under. This is a familiar and I think reasonable way to organize a library. In order to organize a library like this, you have to decide what books will go in which sections. These decisions don't amount to censorship, of course. Current HEPL policy allows anyone who has a library card to check out any item in the library from any section. The question of what to put in the children's section is just a question of what to promote to children. How should these decisions be made? I'm sure there are a lot of factors. We don't want an academic book on quantum mechanics in the kids section. We don't want a children's storybook in the adult section. While there are hard cases, common sense can generally be our guide. Let me therefore ask you to consider the materials I provided you today and ask yourself what common sense says here. Do these images belong in the kids section? What do you think? One of the books displays a realistic image of pornographic actors engaged in a sexual performance, and it also encourages kids to seek out porn online and to talk to strangers about sexual kink, contrary to the advice of federal and local law enforcement. The other book asks the 11-year-old reader whether she would like to engage in a variety of sexual practices that many adults have not even heard of. The list of proposed sexual activities goes on for 5 pages. I want to boldly suggest to you today that this is not a hard case. This content does not belong in the section for 11-year-olds. Moreover, this is so obvious that I find it hard to relate as a father or even as a human being to those who disagree. Look again at the printouts that I gave you. It is unethical, and it is indeed incompetent for Library Director Edra Waterman to have knowingly chosen and doubled down on the choice to shelve these materials where they will be promoted to 11-year-old children. Her proposed solution is to create a new tween section so that HEPL will only promote these materials to children a few years older. Do you want a 14-year-old to go online and talk to strangers about sexual kink? The suggestion is so patently absurd that it's hard to believe Ms. Waterman is serious. I've heard nothing whatsoever on the substance of these issues from your two appointees, Heather Lee and John Deerdorf. Mr. Deerdorf has been absent at 2 of the 3 meetings where these matters came up. Heather Lee was present but did not share her opinion at any point, and she did not second the motion of Board Member Laura Allerding to move the 2 books in question. These are your representatives. In my view, if they continue to do and say nothing, they jeopardize public confidence, in which case it becomes the legal duty of this council to replace them under the law and the printouts that I gave to you. The council must act. You cannot let this unethical treatment of 11-year-old children go on. Please do something. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking.
Is there anybody else in the audience who would like to speak? Please step forward and state your name and address if you would. And I believe typically what we do at our council meetings, we limit you to 2 minutes. So
Okay.
if you wouldn't mind doing that, we'd appreciate it.
My name is Amber Carmichael, and I've lived here in Fishers, Indiana for 12 years, and I'm the mother of 2 children. All week, I've been asking God to give me the words to speak to you tonight. Initially, I planned to read you an article written by the FBI on dangers that await children who talk to strangers online. A danger that our library has placed squarely at the feet of our children in the form of a book by Erica Moen. Moen recommends that children seek out people in communities online to discuss their sexual fantasies and kinks. As you can see in your handout, the book reassures children that the internet is a safe place for such exploration. The FBI, on the other hand, warns that online crime is growing and has devastating real-life consequences. I can only imagine the advice that children will receive from the pedophiles and sex predators that frequent online chat rooms specializing in sexual fantasies and kinks. Next, I thought about reading you an article from Psychology Today called Overexposed and Underprepared: The Effects of Early Exposure to Sexual Content. This article warns that early exposure to pornography and other explicit material may increase the risk of a child becoming a victim of sexual violence or acting out sexually against another child. These points alone should be sufficient cause to censure those promoting pornography to children and to hold them accountable. But in the end, I felt God prompting me to read to you from a different source. I'm a member of a Bible study that meets worldwide. All over the world, we are studying the book of Matthew together. And when I sat down to read the verses for this week, I felt God was answering my prayer to give me the words to speak to you tonight. So I will let Jesus speak for himself. In Matthew 18, starting in verse 5, Jesus says, "Whoever welcomes a little child like this, in my name welcomes me. But if anyone causes one of these little ones who believes in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a large millstone hung around his neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. Woe to the world because of the things that cause people to sin. Such things must come, but woe to the man through whom they come." Those are heavy words. I hope you will agree that promoting pornography to children is a heavy issue that deserves our full and immediate attention. We need to protect our children. At the very least, we certainly don't want to be the reason they stumble. I am asking each of you to do whatever is within your sphere of influence to get our library moving in a direction that is safe for children. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming up and speaking. We get a bunch of emails from the other side every day on this, so I'm glad that somebody's paying attention to this. I think this is a very common sense thing. We had an issue, Cornwall School Board, somebody spoke and they read this. And the adults in the room were so shocked at what was being read that they shut the adults up that were in a room full of adults and made them sit down because they didn't want to hear what was in the book, but they were okay with it being in a children's library. So, you know, there's people up here that sit there and they open this stuff and they're like, oh my God, because they don't want to deal with this stuff. Well, I mean, this should have been a very common sense thing for this woman to not have it there, but it appears that we have an activist in this library as opposed to someone who wants to just do a simple job. So thank you for speaking up.
I would just like to say to the council, in fairness, Mr. Carmichael, Heather Lee is the reason that meeting was called. This, secondarily to that, she did not second the motion due to the fact of Robert's Rules of Order as president. It was not a practice. So in fairness, the reason that the meeting was conducted and ultimately subsequent discussions are in play are because we made the request that the issue be heard. So just know, when you made the statement about Heather and John, I think there was some information that maybe was not shared.
Sure, I was aware of that. I just want to say for the record, if I may.
You'll need to come to the microphone again, I'm sorry.
Thank you, I appreciate if I may, I welcome her taking some action or saying something. So far, she's said nothing and done nothing about this.
There's a meeting, I think, the 24th of February, if I'm not mistaken.
I think for comments, I think we've
Yes.
done, I have some comments, I'm gonna take it a little later, but, and I'll address some of those issues, and I appreciate people coming forward today.
Thank you.
I will tell you, thank you for using 2 blank cover pages on
Yes,
this.
thank you.
Because I don't know how, Mr. Wooford is on our television and how they do but it's probably not acceptable.
to put on a show or shock you.
Yeah.
Well, we have done our due diligence, we've already seen them.
I haven't.
Oh, really? Somebody did email them to you? I got an email.
Yeah, they were in the emails
there
multiple
any-
times.
Okay, we'll move right along here. Committee and officer reports.
Anyone else?
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay, committee and officer reports, President, I have none. Vice President?
Yeah, I've got a couple comments, and, first is, as part of my role in the finance committee, I've stated under this group, that I'm looking at some projects for prioritization. I got some of the final information on that, this morning, and so I'll be sharing some of that, with you as a preliminary to kickstart maybe a joint meeting with, the commissioners to talk about projects going forward. And I know we're probably gonna discuss that in finance as well, but I just wanted to say that I recognize that I owe this group, that information. It's coming. I just was waiting on some additional information on the fairgrounds. As we've already heard, in the audience, the Hamilton East Public Library issue is something that we are all very familiar with. Inundated, it would be would probably be the only word that I could think of the emails that we've been receiving. You know, our job and my job as an elected official is to perform the duties of this office and represent my district, but I've always stated that my job is to do what is in the best interest of the county. I believe that all of us on the council believe that to be true and perform these duties with that in mind. I attended the special emergency meeting, as did President Swartz. As I said in my comments, this is not my district, and I'm here to listen, as I know that Councilwoman Massimani could not attend, but she was she made reference that she wanted to have someone there, and I was happy to step forward and listen and participate. Unlike me, if anyone knows me, I'm usually willing to share my opinion on many things, so I did sign up to speak, right or wrong. But if anyone that was there, my comments were really directed as, this, you know, that's not being my district. This group has a responsibility to appoint people to positions, and it's our job to try and put people in positions that are willing to participate in those boards. We get very few people willing to step forward and do that. And so when you have limited options, it really handcuffs you to, you know, utilizing the people that are willing to step forward. And while I recognize that there might be people in the audience that get upset at the one meeting a year where they have a topic that is very important, it's going to the meetings throughout the year that is really key. And these are, as we've seen, are very important issues. I'm a father of 3 as well, and I can share the same sentiment that you do about these issues. As it relates to the main topic of the meeting, everyone on this council, and I believe the commissioners, have received those emails. Some were formulaic and others were well thought out. I appreciate everyone's comments, but our role is, as I understand, statutory responsible to appoint these people, and I fully expect people to perform those duties that they sign up for. That's going to the meetings, that's participating, that's being responsive, and all this other. We are not here to administer and change based on people's opinions. People get on those boards and they serve, and we have to recognize that is, you know, those are the people that we put there, and that statutorily there are requirements that we have to satisfy before any type of change can happen. And I think based on information I've got from council, that if this is something that we are concerned about from a litigation perspective, that this is something that we need to address in executive session, and we really can't discuss here. But we are bound by those statutory requirements for what we can and cannot do. As it relates to the activities in the meeting, No one that I know advocated for banning books. No one that I heard advocated for removing anyone on that board at that meeting. You know, and the people I've talked to, that no one's pushing for that. We were there, and I think most of the people were there just trying to say, these are things we need to have reviewed. I'd requested the comments from our 2 appointees, and I would just say that Heather has gone above and beyond as board president to provide information to this council, from my perspective. I know that others might feel differently, but she has been responsive, emails, calls, texts. She has been willing to participate, and while I might have differences of opinions at times with her, I don't know if that's the case. That's what we look for people that we appoint and we put on these boards. I think that's important. I've not heard from John Deerdorf, and I don't see him in the audience, and that's disappointing. Because I think that he wasn't there at the emergency meeting, and I know he's had some family issues and others, but he's been unresponsive to emails and other times that I've reached out to him, and I think Fred.
Yeah, I reached out to him when this first started, and I believe that Commissioner Erbrandt reached out to him as well, and nobody has been able to get a hold of him at all. He's not returned anybody's calls, and this is before the thing that's going on with him now.
But all I want to just close with is that I recognize that's an issue, and I take under counsel that is something that we need to look at and see if it meets the statutory requirements for any type of change. But that, at the end of the day, that is what is our duty to perform. Lastly, I just want to say, and this is just is that my son ships off to the Marine Corps this coming Tuesday. While it was a shock to my wife and I that he was going, I just wanted to tell him how proud I am of his decision to serve our country, and that I'm looking forward to when he comes home from boot camp. So that was all I wanted to say.
Perfect.
I got something, Steve.
Okay.
Like Fred mentioned, we've kind of had some issues. The public's had some issues with the library board over the last, year or so, maybe?
It's kind of, past 6 to 8 months, it's gotten real.
I have not contacted our representatives. I know Amy has and Ken, and so I kind of let them take the lead on that. I have a personal relationship with one of the other library board members. We're shirt-tail relatives. We've served on a couple other boards together, and he called me when this thing came up, and we had a conversation. And our conversation from my end was this: we're elected officials. The taxpayer, the citizen elects us. We make appointments to boards, like the library board, like a lot of other boards. We expect, I shouldn't say we, I expect our appointments to perform public service and reflect the community attitude, okay? And he was telling me, well, we hire professionals. The board, library board, hires professionals. We pretty much let them run that. I disagreed with him. I said, I understand that. We appoint you, we want you to set the policy, and the employees implement the policy. If that's not the way it's working now, go back and look at it again. We appoint you, you set the policy, the employees that you hire implement the policy you set. Because in the end, if the public and the taxpayer is unhappy, they vote us out. They have no direct vote on library appointments. The only way they can express their unhappiness is to vote in or out the elected official who appointed them in the first place. That is their recourse. So I expect, and I don't have any reason to think they're not, sure, controversy comes up. I expect the library board to reflect community standards. That's all I really want for them. We're a pretty conservative county in the middle of Indiana. That's pretty much what I expect them to represent. If there are little bumps along the way and differences of opinion like this, deal with it. That's what we appointed you to do. That's what I reflected to one of the board members. I'll see how they perform when something comes up. When everything's smooth sailing, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's only when stuff comes up that you actually see. But at this time, I got no particular problem with our board. We'll see how they handle it. Not coming to meetings is distressing. We'll look into that further.
Yeah, it's gonna
That's
be.
all I got to say on this issue.
And it'll be a process too, because it looks like from what I'm seeing our next appointment, if we don't remove somebody, our next appointment, it
August
expires is August.
Expires
So it'll be
7/30,
August
yeah.
before we are able to appoint somebody new to that, unless we decide to do something different before that. But I agree with Brad, they should be doing that, but I think a lot of these people will take an appointment to a library board, and they don't expect that they have to make these types of tough decisions. And I wouldn't expect you to either, to be honest with you, this is not something that they should ever have to deal with, to be honest, I mean, it shouldn't have come up, I mean, to me.
Still,
But they-
that's why you're the board.
Exactly, exactly.
And just so it's clear, there was a draft that was sent to you all yesterday, if you've had a chance to review. Additionally, Heather, obviously, she had sent the stuff for February's meeting, so you've got all of that, that's why she's not here. But she will be back in March, since they do have their meeting for an update on the actions that were taken in the meeting on the 24th, so we'll have an update in March.
Mr. President, those are all my comments for the EP.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, a lot of them.
I would like to say that anybody that is interested in that library board meeting, it will be next week, February 24th. Moving on our agenda, we're gonna go to the Highway Committee and Officer reports.
We have items that we met, and we have items that we'll address later in the meeting.
Finance.
We did have a finance meeting. We discussed several long-term projects, but the short-term projects, one's on the agenda tonight, some land purchases, and another one was a discussion of a possible training center and how that could be funded and whether we could use 911 funds. So we're kind of on hold on that until somebody tells us whether they can or can't use 911. That's mainly our discussion. Yeah.
Are we at this point from the finance committee prepared to, if I get that information out by the end of the week, prepared to have scheduled that joint session? Do you think that's appropriate?
Yeah, I think you're hustling.
I might be hustling, but do you think it's appropriate?
The council needs to see it, and if
Yeah.
you want financial, options, then you gotta have a finance committee meeting. Can you do that in a week?
I'm more concerned about making sure that our commissioners agree with some of the information that we're sharing as the executive body. They're really the one that set those, and we're just the financials. So we're kind of stepping a little bit further ahead over our skis to kind
Who
of.
is?
Well, I think I am.
Okay, I appreciate that.
But in the effort to try and push things along and make it happen, and so I appreciate, I'll share that. You're not you don't believe that we're in a position to have that meeting yet?
You're a full-fledged council member, you do whatever you think's right, unless you're talking about projects I have never heard of before, and I don't wanna hear about them in front of the commissioners.
Understood. You'll get that the document I'm preparing, you'll get the same time that I give the commissioners, if not before,
Suit yourself.
so.
Okay. Moving on, personnel, we did not meet, we will have some other items further down into our agenda on personnel issues. Miscellaneous. No
I
miscellaneous?
think we've had plenty.
I think we have,
Yeah.
Hey, can we pick miscellaneous up at the end of the meeting? Steve?
yes.
Okay.
Remind me, please. Unfinished business, is there any unfinished business for this evening? Seeing none, moving on to table business. Seeing none, we will move on to new business. First item is the approval of vendor claims.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion on those? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. And the sheriff, the commissary report.
Yeah, so we presented that, it's, all the receipts and expenditures from July 1st through December 31st, 2021. And, you'll see on that report that, in receipt, we were 56,634.35 ahead of expenditures.
There's nothing in there that's gonna embarrass us, is there?
Absolutely not,
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
not on the report.
Okay, thank you. Item C on your agenda is the 2022 board appointments. The first one is the Economic Development Boards for Fishers, Hamilton County, and Westfield.
I'll make the motion for Jamie, who submitted a letter for the Fishers Economic Development Board.
I second.
Who's combining these?
Well, I've got.
There was only one that was specifically listed, I don't know if there
Yeah,
are others.
I've got a comment on the Westfield one. Sorry.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I motion to nominate and appoint Joe Dupner to the Westfield.
I'll second that.
Okay, so just, since we're in the discussion, I just have a few comments to say. I met with the mayor. This board apparently has not met. I asked him for what purpose it hasn't met. I know that there's been some disagreements in the past as far as filling this seat. So I said, well, I'm moving forward with the same appointment that we put on in the past. At that point, he didn't think that was an issue, but it has not met, but he's gonna get back to us as far as how they're going to invoke that going forward, but that he would be supportive if we did make an appointment this time. So I moved that on Joe Dupner.
Okay.
Is there a second? Did we have a second?
Yeah, we did,
Fred.
Fred did.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
So then we still have the Hamilton County, does that mean?
The Hamilton County is outstanding.
Hamilton County, do we need to make that appointment? Is that up for this evening?
It is up for this evening.
I will say I nominated Jim Ginball 10 years ago. It's never met. The last time I talked to him, he's willing to continue to serve and not me, so I'll make that motion.
Second.
10 years? Are you serious?
I'm serious.
This is, okay, are we in discussion mode?
Yes, we
Yes.
are.
This is exactly the issue we need to review, these board appointments, to say, are these even things that we need to be having and making appointments?
There's only a narrow band of applications to use the economic development. We have a, what's that one I serve on, Don? Is that redevelopment?
Yes.
So the function is handled at a different level.
Exactly.
Economic Development Board, there's really not much for them to do when you've got these other ones that are actually handling the big money.
And that's what Mayor Cook had said similarly, that he was checking in on it. So I just think, I only bring it up.
We do, the ones that do like TIFs and bonds and whatnot like that, I serve on, there's other members that serve on it. We meet once or twice a year, whenever there's business, and that handles basically the premise that in the old days, the economic development.
Yeah, your redevelopment commissions.
So Jim will serve
There you go. Well,
until we disband.
Yeah.
Tell him we appreciate his
Okay,
service.
yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'll tell him we'll double his pay.
Double his pay. Yeah.
Okay, item D, it's a resolution CC 02-02-2022-01. It's a resolution concerning the purchase of real estate for the 146th Street and Allisonville Road intersection project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm aware of that project.
Motion carries.
Just keep buying.
Second page of your agenda.
Exactly.
It's item E, the grant fund appropriation. The first one is Fund 8901, CDBG. It's for $1,055,950.
Mr. President, can we combine 1 and 2 for approval?
Where are they going? Is it, where's the?
It's the grant, appropriating the grant, so into the fund, so like specific line items, so it wasn't encumbered. Like the
Okay.
1.1 million or whatever.
This is something I would say that, you know, even if it's not coming out of the general fund, we should be following where this money goes. These CBDB grants, and they're, you know,
Well, they have to come back in front of us.
Right, it's just,
Okay, you've already got the motion on the floor for the first one?
Yes.
she wanted to combine them, though, right?
I made the motion, I asked the question if we could combine 1 and 2.
Who made the first motion?
I don't think anybody had, he had just,
She made the motion to combine.
I'll second
so-
if it didn't get seconded.
Okay, there's a motion to combine 1 and 2 on your agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving to item 10 on your
I'll
agenda.
make a motion to approve 1
I'm
and
sorry.
2.
Make a motion to approve 1 and 2.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
There's Robert's rules, Brad.
I'm on it. Who's our parliamentarian?
You need to be the
I think it's
Steve.
Steve Nation.
He's
Steve
been real
Nation is-
quiet down there.
He's like,
Remember, I'm 71 years old.
Okay, I'm
Move a
sorry.
little slower.
Oh, that's reaching back there, Steve, that's reaching.
wow.
I have no additional comments,
Your
Steve.
brain matter is going faster than all ours combined.
Okay.
Okay,
Additional appropriations, reductions, and transfer. At this time, I would open the public hearing concerning additional appropriations. Item A is Fund 1000, County General, requesting the amount of $82,450.51.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And on to commissioners. There's a request for additional personnel services on the LTC upgrades. It's $35,388.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B is additional professional service for $10,000.
So moved.
Second.
they already got $500,000 in professional services, don't they?
This was the 10,000 that they had not allocated though, right? I don't know if they've already spent that or
It's-
earmarked it.
It's February.
Listen, you know, Steve,
Steve?
do you want to explain?
We
Seems
have
like
a
I'm not
new
hearing that.
executive director, if you'd like to just come up and say a couple, this is concerning the Hamilton County leadership.
Leadership.
I think Brad was more saying, why are we appropriating 10 when they've got,
At least $500,000. This is a jump from, not-for-profits.
Please. So who's the new executive director?
Good evening,
Welcome.
everyone. My name is Diana Coyle. I began January 3rd as the new executive director for Hamilton County Leadership Academy.
So they threw you right into the fire, did they? In February,
You know,
go
it is
through-
all about a learning experience, right? We're a professional development and leadership organization, and they're making sure I get that right early on.
Wel- Welcome to the party.
There
Thank
go.
you very much.
Now, this is a jump off of, we didn't fund it.
Did we choose not to fund it? or
It
was
wasn't
not
included on the
requested?
list
We
because it
chose
wasn't.
not to fund it.
No, that's not true. So 2 years ago, it was not funded. That is correct. But then it was not included on the budget documentation from this year because it had been missed because we did not fund it in the past. So in fairness, we didn't go through this at budget hearings is what I'm understanding, which is, I recall as being true.
And there was also the previous executive director left, and there was an interim director, so in understanding how, of the changes, that they came forward and asked that the commissioners asked that we reconsider.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a quick question since you're the new executive director, and I'll even let either one of you answer this, okay? In 60 seconds or less, can you tell me why a government body should be giving you any money at all for an organization like that? Just real quick, can you do that for me? A government agency that collects taxpayer money from
This is
people.
property tax money.
Zip it. It's countywide, okay? We take their money, so why are we giving this to you?
So an important priority is being able to invest in the community. People are able to learn knowledge and skill sets and networks in this experience. Thank you. People are able to learn knowledge and networks and understand the operations that keep the community going. This knowledge is then them able to impact the quality of lives of the people they partner with at work, in their communities, in their homes, in their volunteer roles. And with that support, we're able to make sure we're setting priorities and competency developed so they're going out into make an impact and not having perceptions and notions that are not correct in their decision-making processes.
And to go along with that,
She did a good job.
She
got
has-
it.
Representative
She got it.
Alexander
And I don't think so.
Good job.
was talking just a few minutes ago how difficult it is to get people to serve on boards and commissions. And if somebody goes through the Leadership Academy, they have the knowledge and to go forth and have the confidence to say, I can serve on this and make an impact in our community. So it behooves us to have that organization out there educating our residents so that they will raise their hand when we need someone to serve.
She actually, that's not bad.
This doesn't happen very
They have
often.
been our
This is a
executive-
Bravo.
Is there any other comments?
Yeah, in the past, when we did fund it years ago, you would have county officials come back Now, to talk to your students, you never had county council members. You had commissioners. Keep that in mind.
sure
No,
you
that's not
should
true.
have-
I spoke with, on the Leadership Academy like 4 years ago, but they stopped asking us. It's probably because we weren't funding, but
I'm
I
a
think-
new executive director and I'm happy to have those conversations.
Could we make sure you
I
reach
went and
out
spoke as
to
well.
Yeah.
Councilman Beaver to come and?
Yeah, but I think honestly, have Brad.
Yeah.
He hasn't had that experience. He's been here a very long time. That he would be,
He can learn more about our
I'm thinking
county.
a mock county council is in the works.
I'm not 71 years old. Steve Nation.
Okay,
But I have been here a few years.
there's a motion and a second on the floor. Any further, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Moving on to item C.
Welcome aboard.
Yes, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
It's the Sheridan Road
Yeah,
property
this
appropriation.
this has got Ken's name. This is one of the issues we hashed over in finance.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second that, yeah.
Discussion.
This is just to provide some additional funds for the land purchase for the women's shelter. Is that what we're calling it?
Domestic violence
Domestic
shelter.
violence shelter. It's just putting money in a bucket that we can utilize, as well as doing some of the engineering and some additional pre-purchasing work that we have to do ahead of time.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, since I've been on this council, the biggest obstacle that we've had since I've been here for getting that shelter, I mean, and think about the fact that we got domestic violence victims that we still ship out to, is it Anderson, Madison County? The
Yes, it is.
biggest obstacle that we've had is the land. So for us, this is very big, very, very big thing, so,
It's huge.
yes.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Item D is EMA, temporary staff, it's a FEMA reimbursable.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion here? Seeing
I
none?
got one question. You can just nod to me from there. You don't have to come up. Are we getting any of the money back that we're turning in?
100%. Yeah.
Okay. Good. I want to hear we're getting some of it. We hear reimbursable, but haven't got it reimbursed.
Brad's like, don't come up.
No, well, I mean, all I want to know is yes, we're starting to get some.
Yes, we are. It's coming back.
You could have answered that for me?
Yes, I could have.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, it's item 3, it's community corrections, it's a 144 amendment.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And council transfer,
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Buildings and grounds, it's an LTC upgrade additional for $129,183.98.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. This is under emergency management, item A. Do you want to take all these together, or?
You can,
Second.
yes, because it's all coinciding, so.
I'll motion to combine 6A, B, and C.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion on any of these items?
Amy, real quick.
Yeah, I got a question for you. Why are we having additional appropriations in February?
So it has to do with the, and he can attest to this, but so the money that's coming in ultimately has to do with the part, or the extra part-time, full-time pay that was extended, right, through June or July, if I'm not mistaken. And so there's a reason, go ahead, I'm sorry, Shane, you're here.
So the first item you approved with, under the commissioner's budget on 2D, that is for the fringe benefits. And then on item 6B, that's for the additional personnel and services for the temporary workers that are being reimbursed at 100% by FEMA. And that carries us through what we've already invested, through what they've worked up to this point, and then up until April when the FEMA reimbursement stops or they extend it.
Okay,
The,
but you have a budget, right?
This happened in December 11th, so it was like the December 11th through technically June, right? So it wouldn't have been able to be appropriated
Okay.
prior to, like, that's why February is, it's February. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
All right.
that, it was the FEMA date, and it was past the budget times, and that's why we had the item under the commissioners, and this one, the item A is part of the employee testing process that we built out within 6 days. And then the 144 amendment is retroactive because that position was unfilled for such a long period of time. We had it unfilled in October. We went through it and hired someone and offered them the position, but they didn't start until January 11th. And so then that reverted back to a lower position rate, even though the conditional offer of employment was at that rate that was on on 3 of the 4 144s.
Okay.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Shane.
Thank you.
Shane.
Yeah, I know I need a motion to approve.
Oh, yeah, that was gonna combine.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on down to item 7 on your agenda, the sheriff, there's 2, A and B, probably put together.
Were these were all related to what we did last month, right, with the LTC increase?
So moved.
The first two are.
The first 2 are A and B.
Motion to combine A and B.
A second.
All those in,
Just real quickly, because for the audience, LTC is what we discussed, labor trades, where we had to, it's for people to, so we could support hiring people, that meets that can compete with the private sector on some of these trades that we were having difficulty filling. So labor and trades, that's what LTC is involved in.
there's a motion on the floor to combine A and B. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And just below that's item C, it's a 144 amendment.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item B, towards the bottom of the page there, it's Fund 1053. It's the Hamilton County Solid Waste Management District. They are
Second.
moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, seeing none. Moving to item C. It's Fund 1122. It's project income requesting $6,461.98.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. On the following page, D, it's Fund 1138, it's cumulative capital development, they're requesting $95,507.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And there is a reappropriation, how do we address that? Do
We
need to
just
vote
did
on
the
the-
We just did the reappropriation, we're on the transfer.
Okay.
So
And
moved.
transfer, $7,500. We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving down to E on your agenda, it's Fund 1176, Motor Vehicle Highway requesting $30,000. Ken?
So moved, to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Oh, if you want, this is for the increased cost of the paver.
Oh,
We just
okay.
talked about before.
Yeah, we talked about this last month.
Yes, we did.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item F, I believe,
That was the
has,
paper, the one that we were before that was the,
30,000?
the 30,000 was for Steve.
No,
No,
30,000 for the
that's
paver. You just have my out of work sequence.
yes.
Sorry.
It was me.
Nice job.
Sorry, apologies.
So moved.
Okay, and we are on item F, is it?
Second.
Okay.
Ken?
This is, moving cash for the construction match for the Steve Nation Trail Grant.
Who's that guy?
He's 71 years old, that's
71.
far right end of the diocese.
Did we say it slow enough?
Quick vote on it, he's getting older every day.
Yeah.
I'm slow with
He
myself.
wants to actually get to see the trail here.
I don't wanna be buried there, I get to see it.
It's not a memorial trail, this is for,
I don't know that we've laughed this much. Thanks, Steve, for starting this. This is awesome.
He's like, it's not my gravesite.
All right, moving on. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item G has been scratched from your agenda, so we're gonna move to H. Fund 1200, supplemental requesting $17,500. The first is an additional for the 17,500.
Motion to combine 1 and 2.
No,
Second.
the request for the transfer was pulled this afternoon because
Okay.
the states
Motion to
provided more
approve.
money.
Motion to approve the additional.
All right.
We have a motion and a second?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And we need a vote on 1 and 2 now.
Nope, just 1. I'll make the motion, sir.
Okay.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item I on your agenda, Fund 1219 is the Park Recreation. They're requesting $47,654.80.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I'm assuming these are
LTC.
LT's, okay, that's why there's no sponsors, okay.
Yep. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. On item J, it's Fund 4508. It's HCRC Lit revenue requesting $31,375.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Moving on to K on your agenda. Give me just a second here to get caught up. Item K, it's the lease rental requesting $38,238.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. On to L on your agenda. It's the inspection fund requesting $5,300.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Fund 4907, it's a highway special request for $176,589.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion?
Some of this is LTC and the other is a transfer into the CDL line item.
All right.
Brian, is there anything, he's here, if we want to have any additional questions on that?
On what?
What, the LTC or the other piece of this?
Is it a mystery project?
No.
No, it's a
Okay.
transfer for the new
Then I don't
CDL,
have any questions.
other than that one.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to N on your agenda, it's the nutrition program breakfast requesting $15,000.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Fund 8204, Fund 8204, it's the nutrition program lunch,
So
requesting $20,000.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item P on your agenda, it's Fund 8908, it's FEMA, it's public assistance, requesting $61,141.39.
So moved. Here's your money, Brad.
Second.
Second.
Oh,
Discussion?
is that our money coming back? Man, 61,000, how much was?
61 on this one so far. Hey, it's
Every-
coming. It's coming
every-
every bit.
Dribs and drabs.
Yep.
It is. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The last on this page is Q, it's Fund 8950, ARPA. It's requesting $9,409,891.96.
I'll make a motion for this, I'll just tell you, we're gonna have another ARPA meeting, and of the first batch.
I'll second it for
Of the
discussion.
first batch, we probably got between $5 and $6 million.
And we still got another 35 million coming in.
It ain't here. The 32, this is out of the first 32, we got 5 or 6 left. This is projects that already been approved.
We don't need the money, and we're still gonna get it.
All right.
We have
Can
a
I make
motion,
that motion?
and we have a second.
I seconded it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Can I
Yes.
interject something?
Yes, please.
With that request, then there was another interfund transfer that we seen, but since it's interfund, you guys didn't have to act on that, but I put that in there for your information.
Is that on the next page, Robin?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
As always, thank you for looking out for us.
That breaks down into detail the people we serve, who receive
The
the grant,
business, yeah.
the businesses.
Yep. Yes, sorry.
Okay, on the last page, we did the appropriation, so item 2, it's a series transfer for $779,140.
That's just information.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do not need to vote on 1 through 4?
You don't need to do number 2, you need to vote on 3 and 4.
Okay. Let's move on to 3. It's an out-of-series transfer for $14,100.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. And the last one, item 4, it's an out-of-series transfer for $2,333,561.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. R on your agenda is Fund 9162, Community Corrections Grant requesting $6,461.98. Sorry, Ralph, didn't mean to shake you up back there.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
If you really add the dollar amount we moved tonight.
Okay, at this time, I will close the public hearing and move on to announcements. Sheriff.
I'll just talk about two things real quick.
Okay.
Just an update on the KPMG study. We've submitted the majority of our data, and thanks to Robin's staff for helping out with that and payroll, to help us get some of that information over there. The majority of our command staff has spoken with them, and we should be moving to mid-level managers and employees here pretty soon. So I just wanted to give an update on that. And then since it was mentioned today, I thought I would just say that we're hosting the Hamilton County Leadership Academy at the Sheriff's Office on March 10th. EMA, communications, they'll see the Sheriff's Office, tour of the jail, and they'll get to see our jail kitchen at work. So something kind of interesting for them, so I thought I would share that.
Perfect. Council Attorney, do you have anything?
No.
Thank you for being here tonight. And last, Auditor, do you have anything for us?
Yes, I have one thing. I sent a letter, to you to where the county council would, help fund the COPE grant after it goes away. I talked with the, finance committee and, sent a self-explanatory letter, so if you so choose to do that, then I'll need the, signature of your president tonight on that letter.
We did discuss that in finance. I think I can speak for all the members. We were in favor of it. It has to do with the Narcon,
Yes.
program, and we need to promise to fund it, and it seemed like a good, right thing to do.
Absolutely. Thank you. Brad, you had
Yeah.
said you'd like to speak on the miscellaneous at the end.
Miscellaneous, I want to ask the president, and before I say this, I have checked with our attorney, we're legally allowed to do this. I want to suggest that we have a half an hour caucus of the Republican members of the county council before next month's meeting.
Okay.
Did you say a half hour before?
Half hour.
Half hour. So it's 6:30.
So that's all of us.
Funny how that works.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. With that said, I will adjourn this evening's meeting. Thank you all for being here.
You put that